Oh, why does it look like that? Okay. Oh, let me see. Get into it. Look at them lips. Those lips. Okay. You got me with no makeup tonight. I'm makeupless. But hello and happy holidays to all of my diary readers, new, old, and everyone else in between. It's Dinah, and welcome to my LIVEMAS Day 2. Starting it a little late. Ideally, with the way my days go, I would be uploading the shorts in the morning hours, and now we're going live like in the evening hours, like around 4 or 5. Just how my daily schedule is. And then as far as uploading the vlogs, I could do that any time of the day, whether it's in the afternoon, evening, or nighttime. So that's going to happen. These lips are just juicy. Aston is not taking a nap. She's staring right at me. She's in her playpen. I felt like it was something on my teeth. Is there? Okay, no. No, so she is getting her 8 o'clock feeds. Ideally, I wanted to hold her, but she was just looking so cozy in her playpen. I don't want to bother her. You want to play with Go Goo? Here you go. Some toys to play with, Smooth. Alright. Let me see. I'm using my cell phone for flashlight. The flashlight on my cell phone for extra light. Boom. 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 Okay, so. Okay. So. It's late at night, so I'm not going to be doing my makeup. So you just have to accept me and receive me as I am. You still love me. Alright, so let's get into this story time. So, let's talk online dating. So, my first boyfriend, right? Are you ready for the juice? Are you ready for the tea? Because either way, you're about to get your thirst quenched. Listen to this. So at age 19, was I 19 or was I 18? I don't know. Let me think about it. I think I was 18, okay? And I'm sorry about when I have to go live on the laptop, sometimes it'd be like the image be going in and out. So hopefully it don't be getting all pixelated like crazy. I'll try not to move around too much. It's hard for me. Anyway, so I think I was like 18, right? Yeah. Or I could have been 19. I don't know. I was either 18 or 19, but I think I was 19. And so, anyway, yeah. And so this was before I went to college. So I went to college in the fall, during the fall months. So I got my boyfriend, I think like during the summer, late spring, early summer. And so this is what happened. So when I was younger, I used to always be interested in Asian men. And now, this was way back in the day. Like, this is 11 years ago. So back then, like, I didn't really see too many interracial couples where it was like an Asian man and a black woman. So I would like go on YouTube and try to Google to see like if that was like even a thing, I'm like, are Asian men attracted to like African American women? Like, are there couples? Is this a thing? And so I would see like little channels and little videos and stuff about it. And then I would see like there were like websites for like couples like that to meet like Asian men and black women. So that it was a community called AMBW, Asian Man, Black Woman. And so I looked it up. And then I saw like they had the data websites, and then they like had these forums, a forum where you could just go online and just talk and chat and just express, your ideas and opinions and stuff. So I joined a forum because, like I said, I always was like attracted to Asian men and interested in them, but I didn't know if they were like attracted to me. And so I went on the forum. Because I didn't want to go on a dating site because I thought that was like cheesy. But I went on a forum just looking to just talk, like talk about it like, oh, I like Asian men, blah, blah, blah. Just, just be around like-minded people. But of course, like subconsciously thinking like, or subconsciously hoping like, maybe I'll snag me a little Asian cutie. But that wasn't the initial like thought, just going to like talk about the topic. So sure enough, everybody on there, they really on there to like link up and stuff. And they did have meet and greets and stuff. But one thing I did not like is like, it'd be like, for the representation of African American women, like there's a lot of gorgeous, beautiful women of color, but for some reason the representation don't be there all the time. So at the meet and greets, they would have these like just women that just allowed themselves to look unkept, and I'm just like, that's not, like you have to look your best if you're trying to date or get a man's attention, let alone a man outside your race. You really need to come. You cannot be representing women of color like that, looking rough and crusty. Because so many times when I would come across people outside my race, they always say dumb stuff like, oh, you're really pretty, for a Black girl. And it's like, what? I'd be like, it's a lot of beautiful Black women. I don't know where you've been, but women of color are gorgeous. Like, I prefer I like color. Okay, I like color on my men's and on my women's. A nice, yummy, golden complexion, a nice brown tone. I like color. Like, look like you've been kissed by the sun. Okay. Ashley's staring at me. Now she's staring at the ceiling. What's up, baby? I don't want to bother her. Yeah, so anyway, so I'm on there. And I don't remember what happened. I think he reached out to me. And to this day, I still remember his name because he had this long name, and I don't know if I'm going to say it. But he had the initials M.A., and then his last name was Nepomuceno. And that's why I always remembered his name to this day, because it was like so unique and just different, And so I was 19, and I think he was like 23. So he was only a few years older than me, because, I always was attracted to older men. Only one time I dated somebody that was like a couple years younger than me. And then I felt so weird about it, because I'm like, I'm supposed to be the younger one in the relationship. But anyway, so yes, I believe he reached out to me because you could like message each other, obviously, because it's a forum. So you could like message each other on there. And yeah, it just started like platonic, like strictly like, oh, we're just talking about similar interests and things and getting to know each other. But like, let's cut to the chase. I'm not dumb. I knew he was interested, okay? And so he was Filipino, and he was tall, and yeah, he was real tall. Like, he was probably like 6'3", and he was slim, like slender. He's Asian, so he's pretty tall for an Asian male. But yeah, he was tall and slender, and he was decent looking. Like, he wasn't unattractive, but he wasn't like, like the sexy Asian men, like the ones in the movies where you'd be like, salivating after them. But he was good looking, like he was decent, like he wasn't rough. But anyway, so yeah, so I was like, okay. I can work with that. But once again, we were strictly just platonic, okay, in our conversations and interactions with each other. And so, of course, I was living in the suburbs of Chicago, and he was living in Houston, Texas. I think he had family in Chicago, so he would come and visit sometimes. I'm talking about like in general, he would visit his family. And so, yeah. And so we would talk on the phone and stuff. Like after some point, like I gave him my number and we would talk on the phone and stuff. And so finally he asked me, he was like, dang, I can't believe I'm 10 minutes in, I'm already telling the story. But that's because it's late at night. So like, I'm trying to get on with it, like, we're going to be getting ready to go to bed soon. These lips are luscious tonight. Look how juicy they are. Boom, 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 ba-da-da. Okay, I'm done. I'll be getting sidetracked. Okay. So, I'm live. So, you hear me? You hear me? What? I said I'm live. Okay, so don't don't come over here. I mean, I could go in the room. Okay. But it's not going to take long because I'm already almost done. I'm just doing a story time of my first boyfriend. Okay. So anyway. Yeah. So finally, eventually, at some point, he finally asked me to be his girlfriend. And so, and I already know, like, I already knew he was interested. And so I was just playing the waiting game, like, boy, because, I'm like, I'm the girl. I'm not going to ask you to be my man. I'm going to wait for you to ask. That's how I was thinking back then. It was different times back then. Nowadays, women just pop out and be like, you got women proposing to men nowadays. It's a lot going on in this day and age. But anyway, so I'm like, I'm going to wait for him to ask me to be with him. And sure enough, he did. And you know me, like I had to play my game, play hard to get, and act like, so I didn't say yes immediately, but of course I wanted to be with him. So, I had to be like acting like, chase me. And so anyway, so we're talking and stuff, and then he would let me know when he's gonna be in Chicago, and so we went on our first date, and I actually liked it. It was a few days, and we went on a series of dates the time that he was in town. So I think the first date, I'm gonna just tell you what happened because I don't know if it was like a weekend or what, but I'm going to just say like the time he was in town. I don't remember which date came first. I believe first he took me. I really don't remember which came first. So we had 3 separate dates, and I'm just going to tell you in the order that I remember, but I don't remember which date came first. Okay, so we had dinner. Okay, so I used to eat meat. Back then, like I said, I was a teenager. I was 19, so I used to eat meat. This was before I went vegan and vegetarian. So he took me to a steakhouse, kind of out west. It was a popular steakhouse. What was it called? Like Buchanan's something. Brazilian. It was a Brazilian steakhouse. That's what it was. And it was hard to pronounce. It was like something. It was really hard to pronounce, like something, but it was a Brazilian steakhouse out west. So first we went to the mall and we did some shopping, and then we went to the steakhouse. Actually, I think I remember now, this was not the first date. This could have been like the last one, because I remember I was feeling comfortable with him to the point where I was like already getting irritated with him. I be mean to my boyfriends a lot, or I used to be limited. So I was like getting irritated with him because before dinner he was snacking. Like when we were driving to the mall and stuff, and then we were leaving the mall on our way to the restaurant, he was eating a protein bar and snacking, and I was getting irritated because I was like, I have not eaten all day purposely so that, I can have room for dinner and so that I can, stay small. Like, that's what I do, obviously, so that, I can have room for dinner and so that I can, stay small. Like, that's what I do. I eat one meal a day, and I don't like to mess up my figure. Like, I like to keep it small and flat until it's time to eat. And I'm like, and you over here snacking. And so I was like, letting him have it a little bit. And he's like, I just need a little something in my stomach. I'm like, okay, but by the time we get there, your appetite is going to be spoiled. But, like, I was young. I didn't have to understand, like, he's a man and he's taller than me. Like, his entire body is different than mine. Like, men eat more than us. And, and they could burn it. They could burn what they eat quicker than us, too. So, yeah, so by the time we got to the restaurant, that boy's appetite probably still would have been, like, ravenous, But in my mind, I'm thinking, like, about myself. Like, oh, we're going to get there and not even be able to enjoy anything because you're going to get full and your appetite going to be spoiled. But anyway, so that was not the actual first date. I think that could have been the last one. But, yeah, so we did some shopping. And because, he's Filipino and Asians love spoiling their women. And so I didn't ask him to take me shopping. He just did that on his own. So he set the standard as my first boyfriend. And then we went to the steakhouse and we just enjoyed each other's company and talking and all of that. And then what else happened? So the first date, I think we went to a Chicago Bulls game. And I don't remember if we had lunch first or dinner after, but he took me to the Cheesecake Factory. And back then I had never been to the Cheesecake Factory, and I knew it was like a popular thing. Once again, I was a teenager, so it's popular for teenagers. Obviously, now as adults, it's like, it's not like this big thing. It's just like the Cheesecake Factory. It's just normal. But back then, especially as a teenager, it was like, oh, the Cheesecake Factory. Man, I really wish I could remember if we went there first or after. But yeah, so that's what happened. Cheesecake Factory and the Chicago Bulls game. And that was my first and only and ever time going to a live game. And let me tell you, in person, once I got there, I've never been to any games, whether it's baseball, football, basketball, hockey. That court, it looked so small in real life, and at least from where we were sitting, and I'm like, wow. And then, it didn't help that the players are so tall, so they really made the court look even smaller. I'm like, oh my goodness. And then I wasn't really paying attention because, I'm not really into that, but like if somebody wants to do something nice for you, I'm not gonna rain on their parade. So, but yeah, so I wasn't really paying attention. So then I asked him, I'm like, when's the game going to start? Because when we first got there, they were practicing, just doing drills or whatever. And so I thought they were still practicing. And he looked at me like, are you serious? He's like, it already started. And I'm like, oh, but I looked cute. I had on, man, I wish I didn't delete all my pictures. Like, I used to have a Facebook page back in the day. And then when I got off social media years ago, I deleted everything. I deleted my Facebook, my Instagram, everything. And so all those pictures that I have from back in the day, all those got deleted. But I looked really cute. I had these poetic justice braids in my hair. No, I had micro braids. I had micro braids in my hair, and then I had it pinned up in a little bun. It was looking really cute. I was looking really put together. But yeah, I had my red lips on because it was the Chicago Bulls, so I was wearing red and black. I had on these black ripped up jeans, and then I had on these little black leather booties, like ankle booties with little silver buckles on the side. I was looking real cute. Like, we was taking pictures, and I already knew he was proud. Like, you could tell, like, when you go out on a date with a dude and you know if he's impressed with your appearance or not. He's like, yeah, she came correct. I always had a little bit of taste. I had a little bit of fashion taste. And so anyway, And so anyway, so yeah, so we did Cheesecake Factory and the Bulls game. Now this is the date that I think was the first date. So I think first he took me to the museum because you know I am an artsy girl, and he knew that. He knew I was into arts and stuff. Like duh, I was going to art school, and so he took me to I think like the Heritage Museum and stuff. Oh my goodness, it was so cool. And yeah, so we went to the museum. And he took me to the little gift shop after we left the museum, and it started raining. So he bought me an umbrella because, you know, my hair, I was like, oh, my hair. You know, like I didn't want to get my hair damaged. And so I think, yeah. So when we were at the museum, we were just touring. Like, obviously, he was attracted to African American women. So he wanted to mainly look at like all of the African heritage and stuff. So he's showing me, or we're touring, like he's not showing me, like we're going on a tour of all like the African heritage in the museum and stuff. And we got lost. We got lost in the museum. And so I know how to play things off really well. Like I know how to turn a bad situation into something pleasant. And so we got lost in the museum, and you know, he wanted to be chill, but he wanted to let me know, like, I think we're going the wrong way. And like the security guard called us, and he's like, y'all aren't supposed to be back here. And I was like, oh. And so I took him by the hand, and I was like, you want to come get lost with me? And we made our way back to where we were supposed to be and stuff. But yeah, we were looking at all the beautiful like artwork and everything that was in there. And then of course, you know, there's only so much to look at. And so then we left the museum, went to the gift shop. He bought me an umbrella, and we went outside. And then we walked past, like it's downtown, like we're in downtown Chicago. So it's like all these shops and stores. And he was asking me, did I want to go into one of them? I remember vividly, like we passed Guess, and he wanted to go in there and look at stuff. And so he kept offering to buy me stuff, but I didn't want anything at that time. I don't know why. I don't know why. I just didn't want anything right then and there. And so after that, I really don't remember. Where did we eat? I don't remember where we went to go eat. Yeah, that's weird. I don't remember where we went to eat because we were downtown. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, and when we were at the Bulls game, he forgot where we parked. So those were all three separate dates: the museum, the Bulls game, and then the Brazilian steakhouse. Oh, and the shopping in the Brazilian steakhouse. And so when we went to the Bulls game and he forgot where we parked, you know me, I always pay attention to my surroundings. So I remembered where he parked the car. She's so cute. And so I saw him getting all worked up and frustrated because he's lost and he wanted to hurry up and get back to the car and, you know, go to the next destination of the evening. And I'm just like, I just grabbed his hand because, like I said, like, it's all about your response to things. Like, you ain't got to, just because somebody ain't getting worked up don't mean you got to get worked up with them. So, you know, I just took him by the hand. And I was just told him, I was like, follow me. All I said is just follow me, you know. Like, the thing about being a woman is we can just have this calming reassurance in our voice. We can have a soft, gentle voice that just really relaxes those around us. You don't have to be all aggressive and, you know, like that, you know. You just come calm and sweet, like they say. You catch more flies with honey than you do with vinegar. And so I just led him back to the car and we just laughed about it, and that was that. And so those were all the dates. And yeah. And so then we just kept dating and we just kept in touch and we kept talking and stuff. And we mainly just stuck to the phone because we weren't really going online anymore on the website where we met. And he would tell me, he's like, yeah, I haven't even gone on that website since I met you. And so we were still talking even when I started school. trying to think. Yeah. And then what else happened? And he would like send me gifts all the way from Texas. Like he would send me gifts because he had family and friends that lived in Chicago. And so he would have them deliver my gifts to me and stuff. And the weirdest gift he got me though, like my sister really liked it so much. He got me a candle, a custom made candle. But the candle was custom made by a person he knew that lived in, the Chicagoland area. But it was his ex-girlfriend's mom. So he had his ex-girlfriend's mom make me a candle with his face and my face on the candle. And I thought that was weird. And he thought that was like a sweet gesture. And I'm like, and she did it. I guess she didn't mind the business, but I'm like, isn't that awkward? Like your ex-girlfriend and you asked her mom to make you a candle for your new girlfriend. I don't know. Maybe they left off on good terms, but I just thought that was different. And so, yeah, so that was one of the gifts. And he would send me like edible arrangements and stuff. And yeah. And so once I started school, I don't think we were really talking anymore, or at least not as much. And then I started growing spiritually. So eventually I had to like break up with him because I'm like, I don't have time for you. Like I'm in school and I'm always going to church and I'm real active in church. So I'm doing all these other extracurricular activities. So eventually we had to stop talking, but he took it. God bless you, baby. God bless you, baby. So he took it pretty hard. And this is when I saw like the other side of him. So like he was really sweet and adorable and all that stuff. And nothing sexual ever happened. Like I don't even think we really kissed. I think we probably kissed only a couple of times. Like anybody who knows me knows I am not a big kisser. So really it was really us enjoying each other's company, going out on these dates when we could, whenever he would come into town. And I'm looking at Aston because she's grunting and stuff. So I'm trying to see what she wants. And so anyway, so yeah. So he took it pretty hard when I told him like, like I gotta focus, like this is a time and season in my life where I just need to focus on me. But I wasn't mean about it. Like I know how to let people down with grace, And he was cool at first. He's like, okay, yeah, I can understand that. He was cool, right? Yeah, sometime later, like I don't know if it was the next day or a couple of days later, but really shortly after that, I got this email. He emailed me and he started going crazy, talking about he going, dang, Aston. And so anywho, yeah, started emailing me and stuff, talking about he gonna hurt himself, he gonna commit suicide and all this stuff. And I'm like, what does that have to do with me? Like that ain't got nothing to do with me focusing on myself. And like I just don't have time for a relationship. But I already knew, like, when you walk with the Lord and you got the Holy Spirit, you get discernment from the Holy Spirit. And, like, my spiritual eye was open and heightened. So I knew things, like, I could see beyond the surface of things, and I could see, like, the motive behind things. I wasn't saying, no, he was not going to hurt himself. It was a manipulative strategy to try to get me to come back to him. But I'm not that type of person. Like, what makes you think, how is that attractive? Oh, I don't want you to hurt yourself, so I'm going to come back to you. Now, if you're able to hurt yourself, you're able to hurt me, look, it ain't going to work out. It's not happening. So I would send him, like, prayers and, like, just encouraging, uplifting songs and stuff. But I was like, yeah, I'm sorry. Like, I'm firm in my decision. I'm sorry you feel that way. I'm going to pray for you. Here's some prayers that you could do over your own self. I'm like, but it's, it's a done deal. And then, yeah. And so then, I went to school. And then after I was done with school, sometime later, because I like to leave my relationships on a positive note if I can. Like, I don't like to be mean. Because just because things don't work out romantically don't mean you got to be, you don't need to have bad blood, just because you can't be with somebody romantically. So, yeah, so we did keep in touch and stuff. And he invited me to come visit him in Houston. And at the time, I was working. I had a really good job. I was working in retail and stuff, and I had a lot of hours. And so I had some money, and I always loved to travel, but I just never did. So I was still going to church and real active in the church, but like I was young. Like I didn't really have anything holding me back. Like I didn't have any kids. I didn't have any boyfriends. I didn't have like the type of job where I couldn't travel. So he invited me to come and visit him out there in Houston, and I was like, yes. And and he bought me a ticket. That was the thing. So we weren't together. We just kept in touch as like friends. And he just reached out and invited me to go out there and visit him. And I wanted to, buy my own room and stuff. And I was going to, I just wanted to make sure I was using my own money, because I'm like, since we're not together, I don't want to give the wrong message, like by having him spend money on me, like paying for my flight, paying for my room, paying for food, taking me shopping. Like, I don't want him to think or treat me like I'm still his girl. So that's why I have my own money and readily available. But not only did he pay for my flight, and that was my first time ever getting on a plane, and my sister was so excited for me. She was like, oh, this is so exciting. She was like, this is your first time getting on a plane. And it was exciting, but I was just like going through the motions. Like it was not hitting me like this is my first time like getting on an airplane and being in the air and flying to another state. And I've never been to Texas before. I have been to like Missouri, but that was like a road trip. And then of course I've been to Indiana and Wisconsin, but all of those were like driving, and then it was like family and church stuff. So this was like my first big adult solo trip by myself, and it was paid for. And when I got there, he picked me up from the airport, and he asked me where did I want him to take me. And I was like, oh no, let's just go find an affordable hotel to check into. And he looked, and he already had his own plans. He like, all right, I know where to take you. And so he took me to like the Four Seasons or something. I believe it was the Four Seasons Hotel, because he was in college. When we were dating, he was in college, and then he was still in college when I went to go visit him. I think that was like his last year. And so I went to go visit him, and he was still in college, but he was going to get his business major. What am I talking about? He was a business major. He was going to get a degree in business, and he wanted to go into hospitality. Specifically, wanted to run his own hotel. So he worked at a hotel, and he booked me, a really, really nice hotel at the Four Seasons. Or was it the Sheraton? I don't know. It was either the Four Seasons or the 4 Points by Sheraton. It was something, one of those, something. But he had already booked it for me. So when he booked my flight, he must have had already booked that room. And so he took me upstairs, and he wanted to check the room out because, like I say, he's fascinated by hotels and stuff. And I thanked him and everything. And then I kindly, told him, because, I was a nice Christian gal. So I gracefully thanked him for, picking me up and booking me the room, and told him it was time for him to leave because I needed to get my rest. Like I had went in the bathroom, I changed into my pajamas, and I'm like, yeah, so good night. And so, wait, no, that's not what happened. I told him it was time to go so that I could take a shower, because I knew that it felt right. I ain't finna put on pajamas and not take a shower. So that's what happened, because he was like lingering. Like he checked out the room, and that was the thing about him. Like he never forced anything, but he would linger, kind of wait for me to give him the green light. Like he would always linger. He would wait around for a kiss. Oh, he loved holding hands. That was the other thing, because I was not used to that. Well, he was my first boyfriend, and when we were dating, he would always want to hold my hand. He'd be like, Medina, please let me hold your hand. And he would talk weird like that too, but that's okay, because I always be changing my voice too. But yeah, he was adorable. But he had, he had some anger issues. And so college kids, I remember one day we were jamming out with these kids that were like playing the guitar. I did feel kind of bad because he was kind of like not as social and outgoing as I was. So like I saw these people out playing their little guitar and I'm like, ooh, teach me how to play and stuff. And then they invited us. Oh my goodness, why do people always invite me to a party? And then the other person I'm with don't want to go. So we was on his campus, and it was like these two guys playing the guitar, and I asked them, it was a sexy chocolate man. But I was a nice, wholesome Christian girl back then, so I wasn't thinking like that. But looking back, it was a sexy chocolate man. I met all types of good people in my life. And so anyway, I'm like, oh, teach me how to play the guitar. Just in a bubbly way. I was not being inappropriate. And they were showing me how to play the guitar, and we was having a good time. And so he kept showing me around his college campus, and then of course, the tour was over, so he started walking me back to wherever we were gonna go. Guys that we saw earlier that were playing the instruments, they saw us, and it was like, hey, come over here. And I ran over there. I don't know why, like I be doing too much. And so they invited us like to go to a party, but I had to do what Nepomuceno wanted to do. And so anyway, so we had a lot of fun. Like he took me to Galveston Beach, and it was a good time. And we went out to like this brunch restaurant, but I did pay for myself there because he was gonna pay. But I told the waitress, I said, 2 separate checks, please. And I made a distinction to do it because, like I said, if you're not with someone and that's not your intent, don't let him pay for stuff like that. And then he invited me to go to church with him, which I loved. But this was the weird thing. Why is my life always a story, y'all? Why is my life always a story? You're like, y'all think I be like making this up? No, these real things be happening. Like, and remember, I got the Holy Spirit. I got discernment. So I'm partaking. Like this was at a time in my life where I was like really spiritually heightened. Like I will always go to all different types of churches, trying the spirits though, because every church ain't led by Christ. Okay, every church ain't led by Christ. So don't be thinking you're gonna run up in a church and be okay. Every church, Christ is not the head of every church. But yeah, so I was in there and I was going along with the worship music, and they did tithes and offering, and I paid my little offering, not my tithes, because you pay tithes to your church. You pay tithes to the church that you're a part of, not just like any random church, but you can always give an offering to any church. And so anyway, but he wasn't paying his tithes and offering. He kept looking at his phone the whole service. So I was like, he's not really into this. He just invited me, like, I don't know, probably because he thought I was into it, because, I was a church girl. And so when the service was over, they had like this little back to school type of event or something. I don't know what they had going on, but it was fun and games for the kids. And he introduced me to one of the members of the church. It was this dark-skinned, petite, little chubby girl, like petite and thick. And she wore glasses. When I say petite, I mean she's short in stature, and she got some weight on her. Not a gross sloppy weight, but she heavy chested and she got stuff going on, And yeah, and she wore glasses, and her hair was unkept. And then there I was looking super cute. I wish I could show you a picture, but it's a thumbnail in one of my older videos where I have like this cute, like honey blonde, like curly hair, and I was wearing a black dress. That's how I was looking. That was the same hairstyle I wore when I went to visit him in Houston. So yeah, so I had like this beautiful, like I had a crochet hairstyle because that was hot back then. I had like these honey blonde curly crochet, and it was probably like to about here. And I was really slim and petite because I was doing a lot of fasting at that time. And yeah, and I was just looking cute. And he introduced me to the lady, and it was just like weird chemistry between them. Like the interaction was weird. Like he kept staring at her and not saying anything, and she kept avoiding eye contact. And So I just felt like it was really weird. So I thought he wanted us to like talk and like get acquainted. So I just kept talking to her, and she just would not make eye contact with me. She wouldn't make eye contact with him, and she's just like, you know, reluctantly answering, like responding to whatever I'm saying. And I'm just like, this is weird. And so I think, I don't know who wrapped it up, but at some point I'm like, okay, this is weird. Like, she don't want to talk to us, so why are we standing here? I got the vibe that like that must have been like his ex-girlfriend, or maybe someone he was interested in, and maybe she turned him down. So he was like using me to kind of make her jealous. But we weren't dating. I was just visiting as a friend. And yeah, and so that's what happened. And yeah, we just had a great time. I think we went to the beach right after that. And yeah, and then when it came time for me to go, I was just hanging around at his dorm room because I had to check out of the hotel. So I was just hanging around in his dorm room waiting for him to get out of classes. And then he was going to take me to the airport. And so we were like playing games and stuff in the rec area of the doors. And it was just getting heated. Like if we were playing, like if I would miss a shot or he would miss a shot, he would get mad and start smacking the table and slamming the paddle on the table and just going crazy. Like got a spirit on him. And so I'm like, all right, let's stop playing this game and slamming the paddle on the table and just going. He got a spirit on him, you know, like he's getting too angry and frustrated like it's a game. And so I'm like, all right, let's stop playing this game and let's just go to the airport. Like, also one key thing, like when I was getting ready, okay. Big girl, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, big girl. I'm sorry, big girl. My big baby. Oh yeah, we gotta go to church in the morning. Let's go to bed. Thank you for the what else? Let me see what we're going to do. If he was up for it, I was open to us, you know, being together again. And he kind of did not react the way I wanted him to. He was kind of like, oh, okay. So that's why I think him and that girl had something going on, because he wasn't like, yeah, I think he literally invited me out there just to make that girl jealous. And maybe just so he wouldn't feel alone for his birthday like that. But that was fine. I had a good time up until him acting crazy. But at least he didn't act crazy until it was time for me to go to the airport. And then so that was my little experience. That was my first sweet and kind of well. But if you gotta treat your women like princesses and take care of shortness,